The infected blood problem has reached the top of the system now, and the Prime Minister gave a heartfelt apology yesterday. I don't think it's really enough. The Prime Minister, anyway, was probably not born when much of this began. And should he take responsibility on behalf of all the medical services? Yes. But does that mean everybody else can avoid responsibility? Absolutely not. Thousands of people in the UK have died, many still falling ill, many will become ill in the future because of this stupidity. Stupidity and parsimony, trying to save money by being thoughtless, and also by lying. You know, the investigation made it very clear that, first of all, people were not necessarily getting the best treatment, and secondly, the blood was not being screened from the first opportunity that technology provided. It was cheap, and the managers and bureaucrats opted for spending as little money as possible at the time, because clearly they didn't think these people were important. Well, we are important. And more than 1,000 people, victims, journalists, attended the Central Hall in Westminster for the reading of the report. And after such a long time, Jeremy Hunt, who was formerly a health minister, has known all about this. I mean, it's not as if this is a surprise to Jeremy Hunt. He's going to approve a multi-billion-pound package of compensation. But, you know, again, this is just rhetoric. This is just words. And it needs to be turned into reality after 40 years. Why does it take so long? When the government knows that it and the National Health Service have acted badly. Why does it take so long to admit serious error and to watch so many people die? And yet at the same point to encourage people to clap for the NHS, to salute the NHS, and to say it's so great. It's become a pitiful apology for health. And despite all my support for the NHS and for the people who work there on the front line, the bureaucracy stinks and has been stinking for years and years and years. And this is about the bureaucracy. Many people with haemophilia, many people who had needed blood transfusions in the 1970s and 1980s have ended up with HIV and hepatitis. And this includes nearly 3,000 young children, many of whom have died. And the regular medical treatment that they have needed since has well exceeded the amount of money that this stupid organisation may possibly have saved. The heads that roll need to be in the corridors of NHS England. But there's many heads that need to roll there. It's not only the haemophilia crisis, it's also the whistleblowing crisis. I did an interview last night with one of the key players in the whistleblowing actions, Dr. Jane Somerville. And she's very clear that there's a raft of responses which need to be taken. Not only legislation, but improving the bureaucracy and making sure there is an independent organisation that doctors and nurses can go to when they feel that something is wrong. The option for the NHS to manage its own problems has again and again and again proven to be faulty. It's managing its own problems, which has taken 40 years to get this to a point where the Chancellor of the Exchequer is offering money. But as I say, that's just rhetoric at the moment. It's not hard cash, and it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. The fear that went through the haemophilia community, of which I know some, of which I've experienced some, and that's in an organisation, the NHS, which is supposed to be helping. I don't see the level of help that I should. And I see it in the doctors, I see it in the nurses, but I don't trust the bureaucracy of the NHS. In the same way, I've just got involved in a whistleblowing case, and I think I filed the information, a good 3 weeks ago, I think now. I've still not heard anything. And yet, I have seen a document which says that that a government official doesn't need to respond to a question because the case is closed. The government knows more than the people who are actually involved in the case itself. I'm not a plaintiff or whatever for the case. I'm simply an intervener. I'm simply there because I think that there's stuff that the public need to know. But the law in our country, at the moment, I don't think can be trusted. Because again, it's overwhelmed by people who manage paperwork and hide it and make their own decisions, gatekeeping, so that the real people who are supposed to make decisions don't even see the paperwork. And you would think, in an age of computing, that paperwork would be immediately available. But it's not. It's hidden. And that really is the problem. And I think as we move into this post-Brexit environment, we're going to find ourselves short of so much. We'll be short of blood supplies again. What are we going to do? Where are we going to turn to then? And, we need to settle this narrative of the blood-contaminated crisis. And we need to ensure that this narrative is not repeated. And that the efforts to cover it up, which of course have gone on and on and on, are not repeated. And those efforts go through the NHS, the bureaucracy of the NHS particularly, the legal system, the courts, the civil service and Whitehall, right up to the heart of government. It's not just one small institution which is involved in covering up. It goes right up to the top. And to her credit, I don't normally say anything positive about Theresa May, but to her credit, it was in 2017 when 500 people brought a legal challenge that Theresa May, when she was Prime Minister, ordered the current inquiry. A government-commissioned report. And she did the right thing. She did the right thing. And that report, that inquiry, has led to this to this statement, yesterday in Rishi Sunak's admission of regret. And this was seen. The point is, the NHS, the American blood sources, were ignoring the 1952 World Health Organization reports about the collection of plasma. So it's not accidental. It's willful stupidity and parsimony. And for that, I would want to see a parade of government officials, senior trust managers of the NHS, crawling on their knees to apologise.